Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. These are going to be general messages for the sign of Scorpio in the month of November 2018. Hello, Scorpio. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope, what's this, November? Your birthday month is going well for you. Happy birthday, Scorpio. If you're celebrating this month, or even if you're celebrating at the end of October, happy birthday to you as well. Oh, yeah, and happy Thanksgiving if you will be celebrating later this month. Hope you guys have a fabulous turkey day if you're celebrating. If you're not, that's okay too. I still love you. Anyway, that's your main spread there. Shuffled off camera to save time. Here we're going to get your outcome and your overall energy from the bottom of the deck. Once all of the cards are out, Scorpio, that's when the reading begins. Down below in the description box, you're going to find the timestamp there for if you want to skip ahead. Also down there is information on how to get a personal reading with me if you ever feel so inclined. Alright, let's get it, man. Outcome, Scorpio, November 2018. Whoa, quick and easy. I shouldn't laugh, because you might not know what the hell I'm laughing at. But let me grab that. I laughed because these two cards just came out in Libra's reading, and they came out in the same, not position, but as far as their upwards, or upright and reverse. So... and the fact that I'm talking about it, maybe there's a Libra of significance in your life, Scorpio, but it does not have to be. And you got yourself a triplet, so lucky you. Maybe, I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Scorpio, November 2018. Where's Scorpio in November 2018? Please show me Scorpio, November 2018. Right there. Okay, thank you. All right, Scorpio, coming into November, you come in as the Ace of Swords. Hello. Oh, I sang to you. That's interesting. We're getting to that stage in our relationship where I get to sing to you, huh? Sorry. I apologize. Anyway, Ace of Swords. So, big truths, big honesty, big everybody hear what I've got to say and deal with it. It's kind of like a no-nonsense energy I'm getting from this for you, Scorpio, where, kicking butt and taking names, basically, and not necessarily in an aggressive way, but in an affirmed way. You feel really, if not free, you feel really solid and stable in whatever you're trying to convey to someone else or to other people. It doesn't have to be one specific person, but I'm feeling this is more of like a helm, like a God, what do you call that? Like an attitude, a new attitude for you, Scorpio, is to just be out and open with it and being really honest with how you feel and what you think. And also there is a slight energy or feeling of having to defend. So at the same time that you're affirming yourself and you're standing in truth and you're expressing what you understand about yourself or understand about the situation and what you think about it, what you've rationalized about it, you're also defending yourself. You're also not gonna take any guff from anybody. So if someone comes to you with critiques, they better come correctly because you have all the receipts, you've got all the things to back you up in the world, and you're just not gonna go down without a fight. Like, I don't really see fight here per se, like not like actual like volatile fighting or anything like that, or like fisticuffs with someone else, but I do get the sense of not wanting to be challenged, but being prepared if you are challenged. Like, I don't want to argue with you about this, Matt, or whoever, but I will argue with you about it. You don't want to pull this sword out and chop someone's head off with it, but you will if you have to, Scorpio. You are very prepared for it. And I'm feeling also with this sort of like a triumphant, like I said, an affirmed energy. Like, you've worked to get to this point. You've worked to get to this point of having total ownership over your opinion or your perspective, your argument, whatever it is. Like, maybe you've come out of a phase where other people were hypercritical of you, or you felt as if you didn't have a place to really say what you thought, say what you felt. Maybe you felt as if you had, maybe you felt that if you said anything previous to this, or even going into the future, people would think XYZ about you. And now you're kind of like, screw what they say, screw what they think. I have to say something. It's vital that I say something. And I'm not feeling this is like a super offensive thing. It's more of like if I'm challenged, I will take up the challenge and I will defend myself. If anybody asks out of general curiosity, hey Scorpio, what's going on with blah, 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 you'd be like, well, let me tell you. And you just go on about it. And not like in a rambling way, not in a way that kind of monopolizes a conversation, but you're no longer going to pull punches. You're no longer going to be soft tactics about it. You're going to be very sharp. You're going to be very acute, very, 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 very direct. I think before maybe you were sidestepping, before maybe you were downplaying, before maybe you were avoiding, or like I said, kind of using soft tactics, not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings, not wanting to seem overly opinionated or seem whatever. Now you're just like, I don't care what you think. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody views, how anyone views me about this. This is how I really feel, and I have to express it this way. So that's kind of cool, in my opinion. That's kind of cool. When you have truth and self-affirmation, I'm all for it. Now, Why him? What's going on there? Okay, right. Yes, okay. This is interesting. I'm not really seeing much of a storyline yet, or other people. I'm seeing a lot of you in this, Scorpio. So I think that's kind of what we're talking about here. This is really like a, sort of like a Dear Diary moment for you. It's like, let's just take inventory on Scorpio's life and really get into what's going on with Scorpios right now. So this Ace of Swords is coming out of this corner here. It's kind of the the child or the product of all of this in the corner. Now, we're actually going to go opposite. Yeah, thank you. We're actually going to go opposite because these are like, okay, got it. So, behind the story behind your Ace of Swords moment, your Ace of Swords clarity, your Ace of Swords attitude, however this is manifesting for you, this Ace of Swords, the story behind it is the Eight of Swords, where previous to this, either for a portion of your life, a phase of your life, or your entire life, or specific to a situation, I don't care what it is, you felt really, really held back. You felt really trapped. You felt really isolated. You felt really, really, really as if you had no way of articulating exactly who you were or what you thought or what you felt about a situation, and you felt stuck. And you could have been stuck as far as your behavior, your disposition, your personality, the way that you communicated. You could have been stuck in a relationship. You could have been stuck in a job. You just felt as if you had no way to move. You had no way to really, like I said, I'm feeling particularly articulate yourself, to express yourself, to say for certain what you wanted, what you felt, what you thought, any of that. You just felt unable to do it. Are you able? Sorry, that's anyway. I can't even explain that one. Anyway, so you felt as if you weren't able. And now, like I said, because you're starting with the Ace of Swords, you feel able, but this is the backstory. You felt unable. So you were tied to a situation, to a relationship, to an attitude maybe, or certain behaviors in yourself, if this is more of a self-development storyline for you. And the fun thing, or not the fun thing, but the thing that often is said about the Eight of Swords is this is a mindset. This is silliness, basically. This is a card of poor self-perception. This woman, she's not tied up too tightly. I mean, she's wearing a very loose-fitting robe or dress or whatever that is, garment. And the ropes, they don't look, I mean, number one, it's not chains. It looks like ropes, or not even ropes. It looks like some kind of fabric. And if she really wanted it, because she could get out of this. Like, let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. If this literally was somebody, she could get out. You could shimmy out of that. You could get on the ground and writhe around until the ropes or the fabric around you kind of loosened up, or, you know, you could worm your way out of it in some kind of way. If you really, really, really wanted to, you could. But, like I said, this is a card of perception. This is a card of misperception, okay? So, in this woman's mind, and it doesn't have to be a woman, you could be a man, and you've experienced this. But in this person's mind, with the blindfold on, and they are bound in some type of way, they think they are trapped forever. And the 8 swords that surround this person, the person on the card, the woman, aren't actually encircling her. There's like a great open space where she could, even if she remained bound, she could still walk away, but she's blindfolded, so she can't see that she can walk away. So there's this idea that somewhere in your past, Scorpio, you were misinformed, underinformed about a situation. You didn't have proper line of sight, proper perspective. You didn't have an open mind in some cases. You were just constricted and restrained, and you believed that was the truth. You believed that that was your lot in life, and that was all you could do. False, false, false. You know it now, and if you don't know it now, you're going to know it soon, but you know it now that that's not true anymore. Thank God. You know, and again, it could be relative to a specific situation in your life or a certain phase in your life, but you're just like, nah, I know that's BS. You see it now. And congratulations, a lot of people don't get to that point in certain situations or till a certain time frame. And maybe that's how it feels to you. You feel like, oh my God, I feel like that could have gone on forever. But something went on in your life, some situation happened, something snapped in you, and light bulbs went off, or circumstances changed, and you're able now to see things differently, or you've been able to traverse and remove yourself from the 8 of Swords energy. This is definitely like the foundation of at least these 4. I don't know what's going on in the triplet just yet. But, and part of the reason you're able to get away from that 8 of Swords is because you have the Hermit card right above it. Hermit card is the card of Virgo, so there might be a Virgo of significance in your life, but it does not have to be. But Scorpio, the energy of the Hermit card is that of reflection, is that of deep self-work and going into the pit of despair. They're giving me all these references from movies and TV. That one I think most people would know from The Princess Bride, but the other one, I don't think anybody would know it. Anyway, so going into the pit of despair. Where the albino is torturing him. Anyway, it's going into the places that aren't pleasant to go into. You know, if you're depressed, it's diving headfirst into your depression, being like, all right, let's get to the bottom of this. Why am I upset? If you are overindulging in certain behaviors, or you're not doing enough of a certain behavior, you would get to the reasonings of why. The Hermit is on a quest of why. And not why as in, well, the circumstances made me do it, or this person influenced me to do it. Like, this is not an after-school program. There's no, you know, he made me do it, and then, you know, now, Bobby, you know that your friends, blah, 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 blah. It's not, no. The Hermit would never come away with that as a solution or that as a reasoning. The Hermit always finds out that the why, or most of the time finds out that the why is at least partially within the self. So whatever you went into, or that you're into right now, talking about why did I feel this way? Why was this energy with me? Why did that experience happen to me? Why was this person making me feel this way? Or why was this person oppressing me in some cases? We'll reroute back into an internal answer of, well, something to do with me, something to do with Scorpio. So in that case of someone did it to you, or you felt someone had a hand in making you feel that way, yes. If you were depressed let's say you're in a relationship or a friendship, whatever, I don't care. There's someone in your life who criticizes the way you look. Let's say you're overweight and they say, you know what, Joni, Todd, whoever, you could stand to lose, 20 pounds. And they say that to you on a consistent basis. That and language and conversation that's very similar to that. Oh man, if you're gonna get that, you might as well just go ahead and get the regular Coke. Why are you even getting the Diet Coke? If you're gonna eat that double cheeseburger, you might as well have the Coke. Like there could be really like nasty passive-aggressive language towards you. And you, at some point previous to now, or still a little bit residually, will think, that person did this to me. They made me feel less than, worthless, that I was, without help, that as if I could never be beautiful, be attractive, whatever. Whatever you may have felt about something like that. The hermit, the journey that the hermit will take you on will inform you of possibly an ugly truth that technically you had a hand in that yourself as well as the other person, Scorpio. Takes two to tango in most things, okay? And it definitely takes two to tango to give yourself a poor self-perception. It's the same way, it's on the same token of, well, not the same token, but it's in that same way of I assume, I'm not a parent, but from what I know of parenting and just general child and human psychology, if you give people affirmation, if you give people compliments, if you give people positive reinforcement, it changes their self-perception and their disposition. They become a more optimistic person. Not all the time, but there is a tendency that if you tell a kid or if you tell someone that you care about, that you love them, that they're smart, that they're talented, that they're beautiful, blah, 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 they're going to have a better self-perception. So there is something to it that when someone then does the opposite, says negative things about you, criticizes you, tells you you're worthless, tells you you're unattractive, whatever, tells you you're stupid, you will eventually believe that yourself. Either way is true, whether you get positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. But the thing about it is, when I'm talking to mostly adults here, judging by my YouTube stats. I'm talking to mostly adults who are over the age of 18, 20, mid-20s, even over 30. So nobody here is a lamb in the woods, okay? If someone is telling you, put down the burger, you big fatty, and you say within yourself, you have this self-dialogue of my husband, my wife, my best friend, my mother, my uncle, whoever makes me feel this way. It's like, to a certain extent. At some point as well, Scorpio, you believe that dialogue and you believe that train of thought, and you become your own perpetrator of that dialogue. So when you go and you eat the cupcake, without that person, whoever is your hypercritic, whoever's treating you like crap, they aren't even in the room. They don't even see you eat the cupcake, but you start hearing their voice in your head and you believe that voice. That's what the hermit is telling you. You believe what others have pressed upon you, have projected onto you, have conditioned you to believe. That is what the hermit unveils to you. Now, what does that then mean? So then how can that happen? Some of you, let me tell you something. Scorpio, you're quite a complex character. Where you can be quite a confident little thing, right? You can be quite assured of yourself, but at the same time be incredibly unsure of yourself. Like within the same context or within the same conversation, you can reveal how incredibly solid and fully fledged you are as an individual, but then also show that you actually don't know who you are in some cases, or there are times of day or there are times in your life where you're just like, you feel so lost, or you feel you have like a you have like an existential crisis, and you're like, well, even though I'm great, we're all gonna die anyway, so what does it matter? You know, you have that complexity to you. You have that layered, interwoven, almost to the point of contradiction within you. And I like that because, you know, I relate to that. But going further into the whole thing of being told negative things and then self-believing negative things, you then get to another question of, so why do I believe it? You can, because again, you can take away, the conditioning is there, and you take away the person. Let's say that whole negative reinforcement thing came from your childhood. Like that relative of yours who would, you know, pinch your chubby cheeks and, you know, pinch your waist or whatever. Like, oh, you're putting on a little weight here. You know, they're dead, let's say. No, and God rest them if they're dead. But they're gone. Whether they're dead or not, they're just not in your life. They haven't talked to you in that way since you were 7 years old. Or, you know, let's go even further. Since you were a teenager. That person stopped doing that to you. It's 20 years later, Tina, and you're still feeling guilty about having that cookie? Why? Nobody else has been critical of you in that way since that one person did it. So for years, you've been having that Pavlovian response of, oh my God, I'm eating a cookie. I'm the fattest thing in the world, or I'm the most gross, unattractive person in the world. And it's like, okay, because you did that, or not that you did that, but because that is a constant in your life, or a condition of your character, why is that there? And whatever deep dive you've been doing with this Hermit card will give you some clarity into that. Has given you some clarity. Because like I said, this Eight of Swords is kind of done with. The Hermit has helped you out in doing that. And the Hermit, like I said, could be an external person. I did say could be a Virgo, but again, it doesn't have to be. The Hermit also can be somebody who is sort of like a guru of sorts. So it could be a counselor, a therapist. Could be, not me, but it could be someone in the esoteric or spiritual community who's kind of giving you insight, or giving you some type of helping hand and talked you through, if it's a therapist, talked you through those moments when you were growing up and you were visiting your aunt over the summer and she would pinch your chubby cheeks and point out your fat rolls and all this stuff. And you're like, oh my God, I'm 12 years old. Why are you doing this to me? And I just got my period. You know, and your therapist or whoever would be helping you piece together how that was the foundation that led to this, this, and this, and this, and this. And every time that those foundations built, you were the bricklayer, Scorpio. You were the one who were adding on the different layers. Aunt whoever, God rest her, or you never saw her again after, you know, 5 consecutive summers. I hope, does that make sense? Like, I hope you understand that. As much as you might sometimes want to lean on it's other people's fault, and don't get smart with me because I know you like to do it. I've dealt with many of you before. I know your type. But Scorpio oftentimes will find the blame in others, and reluctantly, almost too late, last call, find the blame in themselves. I think many of you have worked really hard, and not to say that it has to be a blame game. It has to be your fault, their fault, anybody's fault. It's just, to me, that's neither here nor there. Everything and everyone has a hand in something. Everything affects something, everyone affects something. So, to me, blame is pointless. But from your perspective, I feel like you would be thinking of it in terms of who's to blame. Now, going with how I feel you would think about this, how I feel your perspective would be, it's more than one person, it's more than the circumstance, it's more than your lot in life. It's probably a culmination of all of those things together. And I hope that, not even I hope, I feel most of you have been enlightened by that. Hermit also talks about enlightenment. He also talks about revelations. So that whole it's her fault, it's his fault thing that you used to do, that you kind of rely on, that's kind of like your go-to move, you are now realizing, it's everybody's fault, including my own. What a revelation is kind of what I'm getting, okay? Now, coming out of this Eight of Swords as well as the Hermit, you've got the Page of Swords. So I feel that this is mostly you, but it doesn't have to be. It could be Swords deal with air signs, so Gemini, Libra, Aquarius person. It doesn't have to be, because I feel this is mostly your energy. And the part that I'm taking from this is like defense mode. A lot of people will say, and I think he came up before. I think the Page of Swords came up for someone before you in a different reading. And in that one, it was a totally different feel. When I get this, it's like super defensive. I think before, and a lot of times you'll see other people interpret this card as being really rash and kind of bratty, kind of snotty, opinionated, and all that kind of stuff. And I did mention that a little bit here with the Ace of Swords, so maybe there's a tinge of that, but what I'm feeling this card mostly is, is a card of defense. A card of, don't come over here. Don't approach me. Don't engage with me in that way. So there's this idea of being protective and defensive, maybe a little immaturely, maybe without tact, maybe a little bit sort of like a knee-jerk reaction. Like someone is like, going back to this whole cupcake thing and that whole mindset of being unattractive and eating too much or whatever. Maybe someone in your office is like, oh, did you see that there were brownies? Or, oh, did you have a brownie? Maybe that's it. Oh, did you have a brownie? Karen made brownies. Did you have a brownie, Scorpio? And you're like, yeah, I had a brownie. And I'm allowed. Like being overly defensive. Like no reason to be defensive. Like this person asked you literally, did you have a brownie? Because they are literally very, very delicious. You should have a brownie. It wasn't an attempt or even in the ballpark of trying to criticize you, but you took it there. And so you kind of might be overreacting to people and their ways of communicating with you or approaching you. And again, the orientation, or not the orientation, but the positioning of these two cards is very interesting. This guy, this Page of Swords, is defending this Eight of Swords position. So there's this idea of, I'm conquering my demons. Don't try and force me back into this perception of myself or this oppressed and trapped feeling. There's this Page of Swords is like, we're not going back here. We are out of those bonds. We are out of that blindfold. We are not going to be held in that way again. We're not going to be held captive in that way again. And so there's this idea of, I'm out of these ropes. I'm away from this blindfolded, feeling isolated. I'm not going back, is what I'm feeling there. I like this. It's a little thorny. It's a little abrasive in some ways, if I'm honest. But I feel, like I said, Scorpio, I think you were struggling for a while with this feeling and this energy of being unable. Are you able? You were unable to really have such a firm footing, such a firm outlook on who you are, what you are, where you're going, where you've been. Like there's just been not a fog, but there's been a weight to your position. There's been a weight to your energy. And I feel that in some ways this is lifting a little bit. And now that you're seeing like a glimmer of the sun come peeking through the clouds, you're like trying your damnedest to get all the clouds out of the way. Like you're refusing to go back to any darker times. And that's good, because a lot of times, Scorpio, I think people think you're a super dark person. And I'm like, yes, but they also like to smile and laugh on occasion. You're not all like doom and gloom. I don't care. I know that about you. You can't hide. Are you able? Anyway, so that's there in the 4. Now, the triplet came out several months ago for signs consistently. Only one other sign, I can't remember which, had the triplets this month so far. So you're triplet number 2. And are these together? Yeah, of course they're together. Ooh, is that you? Is that you? Is this you? Is this Scorpio? Maybe. Maybe. Okay. A lot of dynamic energy over here, a lot of feistiness, and I think I said that up here, spiciness or feistiness up here with the Ice of Swords, so it could be you, but there's just this contained energy, or this contained person, or storyline, or aspect, or whatever, that's just like, bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang, boom. Bing, bang. How many times do I have to say that? Just like, there, and just like, no bones about it, very clear of what this is, or who this is, or how it is. And I feel it's mostly a person. I don't think this is like a circumstance or a situation that you're getting involved in. I think it's a person. And if it's not someone external, it just would be you. But I feel it in most cases, this is going to be an external person. So outside of you, Scorpio, you are making the acquaintance of, or you're getting involved with, or you're getting reestablished with, or whatever. You're connecting with somebody who is bing, bang, boom. Bada bing, bada boom. You know, however. Ridiculous. Just somebody who's just like feisty as well. Like, you're a little spicy with your truth and your clarity and your willingness to you know, speak candidly about anything. You have met your match, or you're meeting your match, whether that's in a romantic situation, a friendship situation, working with people. This could be your therapist who's like bing, bang, boom, and you're like bing, bang, boom back to them, and it's just the exchange of the bings and the bangs and the booms, okay? But this person is sharp. They're very candid. They're very cunning in a lot of ways. They're very much thrusting. They have a thrust about them. Oh my god. Who is this? Let's find out. So, right. Got you. Okay. So, let's start up top. Knight of Wands. Oh, I picked it up all by itself like a silly person. Paired with the Strength card. Excuse me. There we go. So, might have a Leo on your hands, because the Knight of Wands is dealing with fire signs, and the Strength card is Leo's card. So it might be a Leo for some of you that I'm talking about, but it doesn't have to be. Other fire signs are, of course, Aries and Sagittarius. But of course, none of that has to be true. It's really about the energy of the cards and the energy of the person. This person, how many times do I have to say it? Bing, bada bing, bada boom. This person is very on the go. Knight of Wands is an action-oriented knight. He's very much a go-getter. He's very much interested in going out, seeing the world, experiencing different things, having adventures, having fun. He's not the most reliable. He does have that rep as being fun, but then just not reliable. Like, don't call him if you've got, you know, a ton of things to do. Like, he can help you run one errand, and then he has to go do 10 other things. He's not the person you call, and I'm saying he, it doesn't have to be he, but this is not the person that you call if you want to have a long conversation on the phone, or you need to meet up and just, like, have a friend chat and, you know, spend 3 hours talking at a cafe. No, this person is not that person. Don't do that. Or not that you don't do it. It's just like, that's not what he is best at. He would be best to be a person to have fun with. He's best to be a person who you want to have a creative excursion with, you know, traveling on, you know, just a quick weekend trip away. Let's go to the beach. Let's go up to the mountains. Let's go and do a color run together. Like, fun. Just fun, fun, fun. And I think that this person has, like, a strong amount of energy. Even if they're lazy. I have to say that. Because the card of Leo is right next to it. And Leo, of course, is oftentimes... Thanks for the cheers. Is oftentimes ascribed the characteristic of laziness, which is true to a certain extent. I mean, if you think about a lion, like actual lions, they lay around a lot. But when it's time to hunt, or when it's time to mate, they're in it. They are very energetic. So like a burst of energies, okay? Thank you. Bursts of energy. So this person probably could be really creative or could be really fun to be around, but they aren't like go, go, go 24/7, which is something I wouldn't say if this guy just showed up by himself. Because it's paired with Leo, and I'm being drawn to talk about how Leo can be very calm and quiet or reserved, but at a moment's notice, turn up, and Leo is just going crazy. And I'm emphasizing the Leo part, but again, it doesn't have to be that this is a Leo person, okay? And so they're really like assured of themselves as well. This person is very, very sure of themselves. They're like not cocky, but they're confident. They're extremely confident. Borderline cocky. Borderline, not narcissistic, but borderline self-centered, borderline self-serving. They might be aggrandizing. They might talk a lot about themselves. They might, be one of those people, you say something, you're like, oh yeah, that reminds me of this time that I did this. And it's like a 5-minute diatribe. They're just going a mile a minute, or 100 miles a minute. And you're just like, so I just was mentioning that in passing, but here you are still talking about it. Like they could be that kind of aloof or kind of unaware of how they can lead a conversation or lead a social setting and kind of take it over with their verbose and very eccentric or what's that word? Not exuberant. Oh my God. Come on. Give it to me. Extroverted. Thank you. God. They're very out and open. Okay. And the interesting thing that I first noticed, but I pinned it, was the orientation of the cards. Both the Strength card and the Knight of Wands are looking off of the board, and your path is all over here. So this person is looking away from you. So whoever this is, you might notice them, but they might not notice you. You might be looking at them going, gosh, look at that guy, look at that girl. Aren't they cool? Aren't they amazing? Aren't they funny? Or in some cases, aren't they obnoxious and annoying and kind of weird or crazy? But you're still drawn to them. You still have some type of a connection towards them, or you feel pulled towards them. But again, they're facing away from you. And not in a way of like disinterest, just like in a way of, I don't really notice you. Or if I do notice you, I haven't paid my full attention to you. Like I'm occupied elsewhere, but I see you over there in the corner. I see you over there in the corner, Scorpio. Don't hide. I see you, but they're just like not walking over to you and saying, hey, I'm so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. They're just like, oh, hey, not like on your jock, so to speak. They could be though in time, or they might have that in their mind. Who's that person? And someone's like, oh, that's Scorpio. And they're like, okay, Scorpio. I'm going to remember that. Like they might know you, but they won't admit to you that they know you just yet. If at all. Because beneath that, you've got the Empress card. Empress is associated with the with the planet Venus. And Venus is, of course, the ruler of Taurus and Libra. Right? That's right. Right? Libra. Is it Libra? Yes, it's Libra. Right? What am I doing? As you can see, it's slightly late. Slightly late in the evening for me. It's Libra, right? Yes. If I'm wrong, please correct me. If I'm wrong, please don't get mad at me. But I'm pretty sure Venus is the ruler of both Libra and Taurus. Taurus for sure. Libra. Yes, it has to be. Yes. Anyway. So the Empress. So this card is slightly more orientated back towards you. Back towards your whole triumphant self-realization, Scorpio. But slightly. Because, I mean, look how she's sitting. She's not, like, totally facing that way, and she's not totally facing away either. And actually, she's more facing towards the front of the card. So, again, it's like they might see you, out the corner of their eye. They might notice you're constantly popping up. Like maybe this is like a gym situation, or like, you know, goat yoga or something, or hot yoga, whatever. And like you see this person, it could be like the instructor of the class. And you see them like once a week, twice a week, and like they see you, you see them, but you haven't like really conversed. You haven't really, you know, had time to like introduce yourself to them, or they haven't come up and said, hey, welcome to the class. It's just been kind of a casual understanding or a casual connection between you two. And there, with the Empress coming out and also with these two cards, there would be an emphasis for some of you that this is a romantic connection, or this could be potentially a romantic situation, or if not a carnal like hookup situation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. But I'm just gonna put that out there. This combination right here, somebody getting it in, or could get it in, okay? And the Empress card would indicate that this person, as much as they're go, they're about their business and they're kind of fun and fancy free and you can't really pin them down, they have in their root, in their base, in the core of them, this very tender, very effusive, very much romantic energy that would indicate that they love life and they love to experience things with their partners of all kinds, not just romantic, but they love to experience life and they want to live it to the fullest, and they have a lot of love to give and a lot of affection to give, but it's in the base. It's not what is projected on the surface of them. This is something that they keep kind of hidden away, or is slowly revealed over time. Empress is a card of abundance, of lusciousness, of sexiness, of attractiveness, just being not too hot to trot, but definitely hot and definitely trotting, okay? So you have some type of attraction to this person. They might have it to you as well. There is this meeting, but it's not intertwined. Like it's like this. Like it's magnetic, but you haven't collided yet. It's magnetic, but not fully connected yet, okay? That's nice. And I think maybe that's something you need right now. Like if you're coming from a space, if you're coming from a phase in your life, Scorpio, where you were down in the dumps or down in the basement with the Hermit, really digging through all of your emotional baggage and your emotional hangups and your really traumatic or dramatic and hurtful memories from your childhood, whatever, to meet up with this person, again, romantic or not, would cause you to pause, or would seem kind of outlandish or out of left field. Like over here is a little serious. Not to say this person isn't serious, but this is sharper. This is a sharper, more hard-edged energy, and this is a more playful, sunny, kind of, like I said, aloof or fun and fancy-free. Can't really pin this person down or pin down their interest in you or really decipher clearly what they're all about. You see them, they see you, there is this interest, there is this connection, there is this attraction of sorts, but it's not clear who they are, what their intention is, who you are, what your intention is. Like you're both kind of like looking at each other with the side eye, like, was he just flirting with me? Was she just flirting with me? Should I take that as a sign that they mean this or they think that? Like it's not clear. You see them, but they're not clear. And they see you, and you're kind of clear, but they're also like, do I really want to mess around with? Like Scorpio seems kind of serious. Like Scorpio seems kind of like, you know, on a tangent of sorts, on a rampage of sorts, and they're like, that's intense, but Scorpio's cute, or Scorpio's funny. You know, there's like this thing where, like I said, surface-wise, they're kind of turned away from you. They're kind of doing their own thing, but they keep like turning back, like keep looking over their shoulder at you because, you know, they got a heart. They have some type of feelings. And again, it doesn't have to be romantic. I'm saying it with like, you know, that candor or that tone, but it can just be like a friend. It can just be, you know, like somebody that you know on a platonic level. Now, what's your outcome for November? Interestingly, the Tower reversed. Dun dun dun. But don't take it that way. Because you're able. Are you able? Anyway. The Tower reversed. I just explained this to Libra because, like I said, this card came up in their reading. Because the Tower, when it comes up, right, is like this card of destruction and like sudden changes, sudden unexpected changes, things that really throw people for a loop, topsy-turvy, crazy, doesn't mean that the opposite is true when it comes in reverse. In your case, I'm feeling this as a reaction to, or sort of the other side, because you've had this. Whether it was recent, whether it was 15 years ago, I don't care. You've had some event in your life that was just this sudden, rocky change, like, bow, bow, bada bing, bada boom. You know, it was just a lot to handle. And this is you coming out the other side having handled it. You don't forget it. Does a Scorpio forget anything? No, they don't. You can't fully get rid of it. You can't fully ever escape it, in the sense of you'll always remember it. You'll always feel something about it. Like, you just can't, even if, like I said, 10, 15, 20, 90 years ago, that would be ridiculous, 90 years ago, but decades ago it could be, that this thing happened. But you're still always going to remember that moment. You're going to remember how you felt. You're going to remember what you said, what they said, what the temperature was, what day of the week it was. It was a Wednesday. It was a cool, crisp Wednesday, and I was 15 years old, and blah, blah, blah. And you just know the details and the ramifications or the consequences or the outcome and what grew from that point. You just remember all of that. But you are not... The reason it's in reverse and it's not like this, the reason it's not upright, is because the effect that it's had on you is minimizing. You're reducing the effect. And that's kind of a nuanced thing that I think not a lot of people can relate to, or not that they can't relate, but couldn't necessarily make the distinction of. Like, just because you remember something in detail and you remember how you felt, doesn't mean that you have to still allow that to affect you today. So going back to the whole cupcake fiasco and the pinching of the fat when you're a kid and you're staying at your aunt's house or whatever. You remember she used her left hand, she was wearing red nail polish, which was chipped on the pinky finger, and, you know, and she had a Pall Mall in her mouth. You know, you just remember all the eerie details of that moment when your aunt, you know, pinched your cheeks or said something about your weight. And that was however long ago. And you remember how you felt at the moment. You felt ashamed, you felt embarrassed, you felt angry, whatever. But now it's sort of like seeing it on a screen or seeing it in a movie. You can absolutely have a reaction to what you see in a movie, but it's not happening to you in the moment. So when you go to the movie and you cry, or you go and you see the horror movie and you scream because the serial killer bursts out and starts killing all the counselors or whatever, you scream because you're like, oh, that's terrible, they're dying, and oh my god, this is so scary. But you are not going through that. So it's like this, I know it, I can empathize or sympathize and really not react, but I can put myself in that situation if I want to. But I don't have to, and I'm not. You know, because when the movie's over, when the credits roll, you dry your eyes because, you know, Ryan Gosling and whoever are together now, and it's beautiful. You know, or, you know, whoever, Jason killed them all. It's over. Once the credits roll, that moment is that connection to the film, that connection to the movie is done. Similar energy here. You might remember the time that Aunt Gina, whoever, harassed you, made you feel this way. You might remember that time when your ex-husband, you know, called you this or criticized you about that. You might remember that time that you did something to someone and you made them feel some type of way. But after the memory flashes in your mind or after you think on it for a few minutes, it's over and you move the hell on. So this Tower energy to me is really talking about these 4 cards and how I said here, you're not there, but it's still here because you will remember it. You will remember how you felt when you felt oppressed and bound and isolated and felt as if nobody was on your side and you had to do this thing alone or whatever you felt. You will continue to remember that. It will never go away. And I think you kind of like, not that you like that, but it's kind of like your preferred method. Because if I'm honest, Scorpio, I feel most of you would be like, anyone who says that these things don't stay in your memories, that they're completely over it, they're lying or they're not a real person. So I think there's some solace for you in the fact that the Tower is there as your outcome. It's like, oh, okay, I'm still me. I'm still Scorpio. I'm still able to, you know, call it like I see it. Yeah, man, I got emotional baggage. It's sitting right over there. I see it. I don't care for it. It's always going to be there, but I'm not going to allow it to affect my current baggage or my future baggage. It's always going to be over there, away from this. So let's just get that out in the open. So there's this ownership of whatever the negative, distressing, horrible situations that you've had in your past. There's just an ownership of it. Okay? Your overall energy for the month is the 7 of Pentacles. So evaluation, looking at what you have, what you've accomplished, what you've accumulated, whether that be actual money and resources or whether that just be in terms of a certain phase in your life or a development that you've gone through personally, maybe this whole weight thing. And, you know, I hate to hammer on that. I'm not saying this is only for Scorpios who have had issues with their weight. It's not that. But whatever you've worked on, here, whatever that thing is, you're evaluating what you've gotten from it, what you've gained from it. So in some cases, it is a matter of your weight. It is a matter of your physical body. And maybe Aunt Gina's pinching of your fat cheeks was so traumatizing or so affecting that now, like I said earlier, you're in this gym situation. Like, that caused you to go to the gym where you're going to meet this interesting character over here. And you're going to make some type of connection with them. And so you're evaluating everything that you have or everything that you're attributing, or not attributing, but contributing to a situation. What you are harvesting. You haven't harvested it yet. You haven't reaped it yet. But you're in the process of figuring out where I've planted my seeds thus far. Is it helping me? Is it worth it? Is it something I can cultivate and really use to better my circumstances or to make my life that much fuller and richer and more enjoyable? Or will I have to totally dig up what I've planted and start all over again? There's this aspect of really taking an inventory on you, on other people, on your situation, on your past, and just like really laying it all out there. What's going on in Scorpio's life? Is it on track to be a success? Is it on track to be phenomenal, impressive, whatever? Or is it on track to be more of a doomsday, more of a disappointment? Yeah. Yeah. That's it. That is your reading, Scorpio. I hope you liked it. If you did, you know what to do. There's a like button down there. Go ahead and hit that guy. Leave comments. I love comments from you guys. All people who leave comments on my videos, even those that I just like, what? I don't understand, or okay. I'm still okay with it. So if you want to like and comment, that would be amazing. If you want to subscribe and you're not already subscribed, that would be even more amazing and fantabulous. And of course, feel free to share the video as well as doing all those other things. But only do any of that stuff if you want to. If you don't want to, you just want to take the message and run. I understand. I understand. I'm totally okay with that too. And I will be back, guys, in another few weeks when I do your December readings. Until then, I hope you enjoyed yourselves today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.